Imagine this for a moment. You're in a room full of people, music in the background, conversations buzzing everywhere. Yet, for some reason, your eyes lock with hers. She doesn't say a word, but the way she looks at you makes you feel like time has slowed down. That single glance, that tiny shift of her body language, can often say more than 1,000 words. This is where the story begins. Because when a woman is craving you but trying to hide it, the first place her secret slips out is through her body language. The fascinating thing about body language is that it's almost impossible to fake consistently. Words can be controlled, tone can be polished, but the body almost always betrays what the heart is trying to conceal. Think about the way her eyes linger just a second too long. Not enough to make it obvious, but just long enough for you to wonder if she's saying something she doesn't want to say out loud. That lingering look is often one of the strongest signs, because the eyes are the windows to emotions she may never verbalize. And it's not just the eyes. Pay attention to her proximity. When a woman is trying to mask her craving for you, she won't come right out and sit in your lap or confess what's on her mind. Instead, she'll find subtle ways to shorten the distance between you. She leans a little closer when you talk, maybe brushes her shoulder against yours in what seems like an accident, or chooses the seat next to you even when there are plenty of others available. These actions, though small, are her body's way of telling you, I want to be closer. Another subtle sign is the mirroring effect. She may not even be aware of it herself, but when she's craving you, her body instinctively aligns with yours. If you lean forward, she leans forward. If you fold your arms, she may do the same without realizing it. Mirroring is a subconscious way of creating connection. It's as if her body is saying, we're in sync, even while her mind is busy trying to keep her feelings under wraps. Touch is another layer of this silent language. Now, I'm not talking about bold, obvious gestures. I mean the little things, the light brush of her hand against your arm when she laughs, the way she adjusts something on your shirt, or even the playful tap on your shoulder. To her, these might feel innocent enough, but they are loaded with signals. Each small touch is a test. Will you notice? Will you reciprocate? Can she reveal her craving without having to say it directly? And let's not forget posture. When a woman is hiding her attraction, her body will often face you even if she's pretending to focus on something else. Her feet may point in your direction, her torso may turn toward you, and she may unconsciously angle herself to include you in her space. These cues are subtle, but when you learn to read them, you realize her body is confessing what her lips refuse to admit. Of course, there's also the nervous energy that sometimes slips through. She might play with her hair, fidget with her jewelry, or touch her lips more often when you're around. These gestures aren't just random habits, they're usually signs of heightened awareness. When someone's presence makes us feel something deep, our body reacts with little bursts of energy that show up in these tiny movements. What makes all of this so powerful is the contrast between what she's doing and what she's saying. She may keep her words casual, acting like you're just another friend, but her body language keeps betraying her. That's the beauty of it. You don't need her to tell you directly, you just need to pay attention, because hidden desire doesn't shout, it whispers. Now, it's important to understand that these signals aren't about games or manipulation. They're about vulnerability. A woman who craves you but hides it is protecting herself. She may fear rejection, she may be unsure of how you'll respond, or she may feel like the timing isn't right. So instead of bold confessions, she lets her body speak softly, giving you a chance to see beyond her words. And here's where your awareness becomes everything. When you learn to recognize these signs, you don't just see her, you understand her, you see the courage it takes for her to show attraction in such hidden, delicate ways. You notice how her heart is present even in silence, and you respect the space she's creating between her longing and her fear. So the next time you find yourself caught in the quiet electricity of her gaze or feel her leaning just a little closer than necessary, pause and pay attention. Because those subtle cues, those unspoken gestures, are her way of telling you the truth she's too afraid to say. And sometimes, the truth you see in silence is louder than anything she could ever say out loud. Have you ever noticed how some people can give you the most valuable thing in the world without you even asking for it? I'm not talking about money or gifts or anything material. I'm talking about their time, their focus, their energy. When a woman is craving you but trying hard to hide it, this is exactly what she gives you. She invests in you. She pays attention in ways that might seem small on the surface, but if you really stop to look, They're enormous signs of how much she wants to be connected with you. Think about it. We live in a world where everybody is distracted. Phones buzzing, deadlines piling up, conversations competing for our focus. So when someone chooses to remember something you said days ago or brings up that little detail you thought had no significance, it's not just politeness. It's a sign of care. It's proof that even in her busy, noisy world, you stood out. You mattered enough to her that she tucked your words away and carried them with her. That's not casual. That's craving. You might be talking to her one evening and casually mention how much you like a certain food. A week later, she suggests grabbing a bite somewhere that serves exactly that dish. She frames it like coincidence, but it isn't. It's her way of showing you, I heard you, I'm tuned in. When someone is hiding desire, this is how it leaks out, not through grand confessions, but through little acts of thoughtfulness that reveal she's invested in you more than she lets on. It goes deeper than memory, though. Pay attention to the kind of questions she asks. When a woman is craving you, she isn't satisfied with surface-level chatter. She wants to know what makes you tick. She'll ask about your day, but not just the boring rundown. She'll press for the part that made you laugh, the thing that frustrated you, the detail that reveals who you are beneath the surface. And when you answer, she's not just nodding politely. She's listening, leaning in, sometimes even mirroring your emotions as though she's living the experience with you. That's investment. That's attention born from attraction she's not ready to say out loud. She also finds ways to stay connected beyond the moments you're physically together. Maybe she texts you out of the blue with something funny she saw, or she shares a song she thinks you'll like, or she tags you in something that made her think of you. It might seem casual, almost playful, but behind those gestures is a clear intention. She wants you woven into the fabric of her day. She wants to remind you and herself that you're part of her mental landscape, even when you're not standing in front of her. Now, here's where it gets interesting. This investment often shows up in contradictions. On one hand, she may be careful not to seem too obvious. She doesn't want to give herself away, so she'll frame things as friendly or casual, but her consistency betrays her. Because attention is something you can't fake for long. When someone craves you, it's not a one-time thing. It's a pattern. Over and over again, she'll show up in little ways, proving that you occupy space in her thoughts, even when she's trying not to make it obvious. Sometimes it's not even in what she does, but in what she doesn't do. Maybe she holds back from distractions when she's around you. The phone that she normally scrolls endlessly, it stays face down on the table because she doesn't want to miss a second of your presence. The way she clears her schedule to fit in time with you, even if she frames it as coincidence, is another quiet signal of her craving. People don't make space for those they don't desire. They make space for those who matter. What makes this even more powerful is the vulnerability behind it. Giving someone your attention and investing in their world isn't just a sign of attraction, it's a risk. It's her way of saying, without saying, you are important to me, but I don't know if I'm important to you. That's why she hides it behind casual gestures, small jokes, or friendly tones. It's safer than putting her heart on the line directly. But the truth is right there in the way she prioritizes you without announcing it. So when you see these signs, don't dismiss them as coincidence. When she remembers your stories, when she checks in on you, when she finds ways to keep a thread of connection going even when there's no reason to, those aren't just friendly habits. They're proof of an inner craving she's not ready to voice. Her silence may keep her safe, but her actions tell a louder story if you're paying attention. And sometimes, the way she invests her time and energy in you is the clearest confession she'll ever make without speaking a single word. Isn't it funny how sometimes the people who feel the deepest things for us are the very ones who act like they don't care at all? It's almost confusing. One moment she's warm and playful, and the next she's distant or teasing you in a way that makes you wonder what her real intentions are. But that's the thing, you're not imagining it. When a woman is craving you but trying to hide it, one of the strongest signs you'll notice is this dance of mixed signals. It's a push and pull, a way of keeping her feelings safe while still letting them peek through. Think about the teasing. She might make little jokes at your expense, not cruel, but playful enough to spark a reaction from you. She'll laugh at the way you pronounce a word, poke fun at your habits, or challenge your opinions in a lighthearted way. On the surface, it's all fun. But underneath, it's a shield. She's using humor and play to cover up the fact that she feels something deeper. It's her way of staying close without having to step into full vulnerability. Because teasing allows her to interact with you intimately, without ever admitting how much she wants you. Then there's the way she might act hot and cold. One day, she's all in, smiling at you, giving you her time, asking questions, even touching your arm. And the next, she's reserved, pulling back, almost as though she's putting up walls. That inconsistency can leave you second-guessing. But here's the truth, it's not because she doesn't like you, it's because she likes you too much. That back and forth behavior is her way of managing her own emotions, of reminding herself not to reveal the craving she feels. So she balances it out, showing you a glimpse, then pulling away just to protect herself. This is where it gets interesting. Sometimes she'll even pretend to be uninterested, but her actions betray her. She might roll her eyes at something you said, but minutes later she's asking for your opinion again. She might act as though she's unaffected, but then she remembers things you told her, checks in on you, or shows up when you least expect it. These contradictions aren't accidents. They're the mask she wears when she's fighting the battle between wanting you and fearing what that desire might expose. Another layer to this is sarcasm. Pay close attention to the way she responds to you. When she craves you but doesn't want to show it, sarcasm becomes her safety net. She might say something witty or cutting in a way that makes you laugh, but the underlying truth is that sarcasm lets her express closeness without being too vulnerable. It's almost like she's saying, I want to connect with you, but let's keep it in the safe zone of jokes and playful banter. Beneath the sarcasm, though, is the longing she's trying to contain, and here's something you've probably felt before but maybe didn't recognize. When a woman is craving you, she may create little emotional tests without even realizing it. She might pull back just to see if you'll notice. She might tease you just to see how you'll react. She might act indifferent in front of others, but then find ways to be close to you in private. These mixed signals can be frustrating, but they're also revealing. They show you that she's invested enough to care about your reaction, even if she's not ready to admit why. You see, the reason this push and pull exists is because craving is powerful, and with power comes fear of rejection, fear of being too obvious, fear of losing control. So instead of laying all her cards on the table, she sprinkles her desire in doses, through the jokes, the teasing, the contradictions. To her, this feels safer. It allows her to satisfy the craving of being close to you without risking the vulnerability of a full confession. But if you really pay attention, the truth is clear. You'll notice that even when she's teasing you, her eyes sparkle in a way they don't with anyone else. Even when she pulls back, her attention finds its way back to you. Even when she acts sarcastic, there's warmth underneath. Mixed signals aren't confusion, they're camouflage. And behind the camouflage is craving that's too strong to stay completely hidden. So the next time you feel caught between her laughter and her distance, her playfulness and her withdrawal, don't dismiss it as mind games. Look deeper, because those mixed signals are not meant to mislead you. They're her way of protecting her heart, while still feeding her desire to be near you. And sometimes, the very confusion she creates is the clearest proof that she feels more for you than she dares to admit. Have you ever met someone who seemed so composed on the outside, but the more you paid attention, the more you realized they were holding something back? It's almost like you can sense the tension between what they feel and what they allow themselves to show. That's exactly what happens when a woman is craving you but hiding it. Beneath the smiles, the laughter, the casual tone, there's something deeper, a quiet battle between desire and fear. And at the heart of it all is her need to protect her vulnerability. For many women, vulnerability is both beautiful and terrifying. To want someone is to risk being hurt, to crave someone is to risk rejection, and to let that craving be known is to hand over a piece of power that she may not be ready to give away. So instead she hides, not because the craving isn't real, but because it's too real. She masks it in politeness, she cloaks it in friendship, she buries it under distractions, all while hoping you might still notice the truth she can't bring herself to confess. This protection of vulnerability often shows up in subtle contradictions. On the surface, she might act confident, collected, even uninterested. But beneath that mask is a softness she doesn't want to expose. She may laugh off compliments, brushing them away like they mean nothing, when in reality they mean everything. She may avoid direct conversations about feelings, steering things towards safer, lighter topics, because to dive deeper would reveal too much of what she's really feeling for you. It's not that she doesn't want you to know, it's that she's terrified of what happens once you do. Sometimes she hides her craving by pretending she's perfectly fine on her own. She may emphasize her independence, highlight how busy she is, or remind you she doesn't need anyone. And while all of that may be true, it also acts as armor. Because if she convinces you, and maybe even herself, that she's self-sufficient, then she doesn't have to admit how deeply she longs for you. Independence becomes her shield, even though her heart whispers a different story. There's also the way she controls her presence around you. She might limit how much time she spends near you, not because she doesn't want more, but because more would expose her. If she stays too long, if she lingers too close, she fears you'll see through her guard, so she balances it, showing up enough to feel connected, but retreating before she becomes transparent. That retreat isn't disinterest, it's self-preservation. Protecting vulnerability also shows up in the way she handles her emotions. She may hold back the softness in her voice, the tenderness in her gaze, the warmth in her touch, because she knows if she lets it flow freely, you'll sense it immediately. And once you sense it, the secret is out. So instead, she tempers her emotions, carefully rationing out what she allows you to see, hoping you'll notice the hints but not the full truth. And then there's fear, the silent companion to craving. Fear of rejection is powerful. Fear of ruining a friendship, fear of giving you too much power, fear of being judged for feeling too much. This fear is what pushes her to hide behind distance, sarcasm, or casual conversation. It's what makes her bury her desire beneath layers of, "I'm fine," and "it's no big deal." But if you look closely, the cracks in the armor are always there. The way her eyes soften when she looks at you, the way her mood shifts when you walk into the room, the way she goes quiet when the topic edges too close to feelings she doesn't want to reveal. The truth is, her craving isn't hidden because it's weak, it's hidden because it's overwhelming. It's easier for her to guard her heart than to risk putting it into your hands. And yet, even as she protects her vulnerability, she still leaves trails. The laughter that lasts a little too long. The way she shows up when you least expect it. The way she remembers your words even when she pretends not to. These trails are her silent confession, her way of craving you while keeping herself safe. And here's the paradox. By protecting her vulnerability, she ends up revealing it in the most human way possible. Because no matter how carefully she hides, desire has a way of slipping through. Her silence speaks. Her restraint speaks. Her contradictions speak. You just have to be willing to listen to what isn't being said out loud. So when you sense that quiet tension in her, when you feel that invisible pull between what she shows and what she hides, don't dismiss it. That tension is real. That craving is there. She may not be ready to admit it, but every guarded gesture, every careful word, every retreat is part of the story she's telling without meaning to. And sometimes the strongest sign that she wants you is the very effort she makes to keep it hidden.